All right, we're going to get started here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. We are eager to launch Summer Camp 2023. This is our week one meeting, and the staff is in session right now for staff week, where we've been doing a lot of training. We've been doing a lot of setup. We've been doing a lot of dodging of rain and lightning. It's our tropical weather that we've been having this week, but we're having a great time getting ready for the scouts to be coming in next week. So with us here today, you have, you have me. I'm Brian Murray, I'm the camp director. We are also joined by Josh Clark, program director, and Quinn Ciccolella, our commissioner. Same team as last year, and hoping to bring you an outstanding program this year with a whole bunch of great, fantastic staff. So we're going to let Quinn kick it off tonight because he's got another meeting for Jamboree to jet out to in a little while. So we'll get him started here talking about our commissioner service.
Absolutely. Brian, you can just list them all. It's just easier for me that way. Okay, so I just want to go over for the commissioner service. A lot of us have been here before, others may have not, and just kind of go over a few things. So as you know, I have daily campsite visits, and that's where I do kind of the inspection, and we'll talk about like campsite improvement. One of the things I want to bring up for everybody, during the daily campsite visits, I am happy to have discussions and conversations for anyone that's there. So if you have any issues or problems that are at the site, that's a great opportunity to talk to me. I'm also happy to talk during anytime you see me at the dining hall, at camp, but that's something I'll come to your site almost around the same time every day, right after breakfast, and I can usually get all the sites done within 45 minutes. I usually do lower than upper. And so it's a good opportunity just to talk to me of anything going on, see how I can help. So for the campsite improvements, for the inspections, we go through that. The top scorer will get honor troop for the day, and we'll announce that on Remind like we did last year and the year before. One thing I want to note is a lot of dings we have for the inspection and just in general is paperwork that's supposed to be posted. A lot of times in the hustle of getting everybody water check or swim checks and everything on Monday, we still have everything in the folder. And I want to make sure that on Sunday night, we're putting everything up just so that we can make sure everybody gets as many full points as possible and following the procedures of everything that needs to be posted on the board. So make sure you look in your folder and see what needs to be posted. If you have any questions, you can ask Brian, Josh, or myself, and we can just definitely help you out of what should or shouldn't be posted. I believe in the paper, it'll actually say what should be posted on the sheet for the inspection. Let me know as soon as you can regarding leaky tents. I don't think anybody wants to have leaky tent all week, and telling me on Thursday is definitely, I can understand, frustrating for the scout or scouter that has a leaky tent. So feel free to let me know at any point. They'll be top of my list and I will solve it immediately. I've had times where people let me know in breakfast and I will get it done before breakfast even finishes. It's in the gator. Sorry, Tyler popped in. Same thing with campsite issues. If there's an issue, I will definitely communicate with the rangers or whoever needs to be involved to make sure that your campsite is at a level where that it should be. So just feel free to communicate with me or any of the other admins. And just a quick little note with the latrines, make sure we're putting a handful of wood shavings down each seat hole each day to combat the smell and to work with the latrine. So as you've known for the last few years, or just the FYI, Quartermaster is open anytime the trading post is open, and Janet will help you out regarding there. Sometimes you have to be a little patient if the trading post is really busy, but we'll make sure that you're accommodated. If the trading post is not open, please come down to the office and we will help you out with whatever you need. And you can also just let me know if it's something really specific and I can help you out. But in terms of like replenishing toilet paper, things like that, Quartermaster and trading post. And as I've said kind of previously, if you have problems, let me know. I want to be your problem solver and help with any issues you have. And that's one of my larger roles of making sure that your stay is comfortable and adequate. So just let me know and I'll help you out.
Excellent. Any questions for Quinn? All right, fantastic. Well, as we're going through our presentation this evening, you do have the chat function there, and feel free to throw questions in the chat, or if you want to interrupt to ask a question about something we're talking about. But certainly, if you throw something in the chat, we're pretty good about being able to monitor the chat as we're talking through the presentation, and can answer a lot of those kinds of questions. Also, on the camp's website, so that's rsrbsa.org. There is a resources tab, and if you go to that resources tab, there's lots of the different things like schedules, the planning guide, videos on how to use some of the Black Pug functionalities, things like that. There's also a section there that has essentially the Scoutmasters packet that you receive on Sunday, most of like the duty rosters, the things like that you might be filling out. They're all posted on there, including the campsite inspection form that Quinn would be using with the commissioners to check out the campsites. That's on there, so you can check that out. You can print off a copy, take a look at what they're going to be looking for. We don't have the like the evening and afternoon program schedule, some of those more programmatic things on there. We're still developing those this week to be able to share with you on Sunday, and they do change a little bit week to week sometimes. So that's not something we'll put on the website. Those will be available when you check in, but the rest of those materials are available on the website if you'd like to check that stuff out. Okay. All right, well, let's move on then, and we'll go back to the beginning, and we'll talk about Sunday check-in procedures. Just a friendly reminder that check-in starts at 1 o'clock. The staff comes in at 11 o'clock and has projects that we need to do to get ready for the next group coming in, has lunch, has a staff meeting, so it takes us a little bit of time to get up there. So we're looking for folks to not come really until 1 o'clock there. Troops can start gathering in the parking lot at about 12:30, and the guides will start to come up to meet you at 1 o'clock to begin guiding you down to your campsites. The Scoutmaster, or person who's going to be in charge of check-in, is asked to bring a roster. Okay, please have a printed roster. It can be printed from the website. It can be typed up however you want format, but please bring a roster down to the camp office so that we can double check that the people that are in attendance with you matches the roster that's been registered on Black Pug for camp. So that's what you're going to do with me. You check in with me at the camp office. We take care of that, and the guides will take the rest of the troop down to the campsite. So it's one of the important things is to make sure that the person that comes to the office to check in with me does not have the medical forms. Send the medical forms with the scouts and with the guide, because it's possible that they could get down to the site and the medical officer could be right there ready for them the first site, and your unit may not be ready because the medical forms are with the Scoutmaster up in the office. So you take care of that, send the forms with them. The troops will be given a 1 vehicle permit to be able to bring a vehicle to the campsite to transport troop gear down into there. It is for 1 vehicle, and so we ask that if you have to have multiple vehicles go in, it is a relay. Basically, they hand off the pass to the other vehicle, but only 1 vehicle at the site at a time, please. Please make sure, we do know many troops bring trailers. That's okay, but we ask that the trailers be kept in a space where it is not impeding passage along the road. We need to be able to get camp vehicles and emergency vehicles through the camp, and also we don't want the trailers backed up into the campsites. Most of the campsites have a little bit of a, I hesitate to use the word driveway because it implies you can drive into the campsite, which is not what we want, but kind of a little bit of a transition space between the road and the campsite. That's the ideal place for the troop trailers to rest for the week. Just continuing to remind folks, as we've talked about in the past, and as we sent out some messages last month, all adults that are going to be coming to camp to stay with the Scouts need to have current youth protection training through BSA and be cleared through the New York State background check before arrival. Okay, that's really, really important, because that New York State background check, I just ran a roster of over 500 names last week of folks that are going to be joining us either as adult leaders or staff or other capacities this summer. And that's great. So I've got all those folks approved, but anybody who comes in after that point, we need to clear through the Department of Criminal Justice Services in New York. If a parent shows up or an adult leader shows up on a Sunday afternoon and has not yet been cleared through that process, there's nobody answering the phone at that office to be able to clear that person. And so we would need to decline that person entry into camp if they are not pre-cleared. So you basically, if you have anybody that has not yet been cleared, please put their name into that online form today so that we can take that information and run them through the state system in the next day or two and have time to get a response back before check-in on Sunday. Also, for any adults that are going to be remaining for longer than 72 hours in camp, and that does not have to be consecutive, but 72 hours across the span of the full week, those individuals need to be registered with BSA, and they need to be registered basically with your unit to be participant. Just putting in a note here, just so that you're all aware, kind of putting on my other hat of safe scouting rep for the council. This policy does change September 1st. We could talk a little bit more about this next week, but basically, if you haven't heard, beginning September 1st, that 72-hour window rule goes away, and any overnight activities, adults need to be registered with BSA to do that. So for summer camp this year, we're still operating under the old/current rules, but that rule will be changing September 1st and will affect unit overnight activities, camporees, as well as summer camp next year. For our identification, to help make sure that we know that people have been checked into camp, adult leaders will be given one of those silicone wristbands to mark that they have been checked in and are staying in camp. Visitors that are just coming for a short period of time, like on the Wednesday night family barbecue, will be given a Tyvek, one of those like carnival type wristbands. And that's just a short-term thing. Individuals that are coming for a short-term visit, dropping off fresh boots or coming for the barbecue or something like that, they do not need to meet the criteria that are listed on the screen there. They do not have to have the YPT or be registered or anything. Those are for adults that are going to be staying with the units as part of their supervision. Also, just please be aware or remember that we do have a camper release form. If there are any scouts that are going to be leaving camp during the week, going off for a baseball game or summer school or something like that, we do have a form that we ask that be filled out on behalf of that scout. And when the parent or designated individual comes to pick that scout up, we're going to ask for that form, and that form does have a line for a signature by one of the unit leaders that is remaining in camp. So either the scoutmaster or one of the assistant scoutmasters that's staying in the site. And that functions really for two purposes. One, it's a receipt so that you know that that scout has in fact left, so you don't think that they're missing. And then two, it helps us to be aware. You all know the family situations in your troops a lot better than we do. So you may know of orders of protection or situations where a scout may not be permitted to leave with a particular parent. And if that person tries to remove that scout, you're another set of eyes on that transaction and make sure that that individual it does not have access to that child. So that's why we have that camper release form. I believe that form is also on the website. If it's not, let me know and I'll get it up there on the website. But that's something that we have available here at camp as well. For the health and safety, certainly we encourage everybody, especially the scouts are expected to follow the buddy system, but we encourage as much as possible for adult leaders as well. Travel together, travel in pairs, use the sign in, sign out system that exists throughout camp, either the buddy boards in your campsite or the sign in, sign out logs that exist on the counter in the office, as well as in all the program areas throughout camp. That helps us to track where the scouts are. We're in a much better situation certainly from the health department's perspective with some of the changes that we made to our program area locations last year, moving ecology and scoutcraft close to Seneca, really cuts down on travel for scouts, really cuts down on some of those longer span distances where they might have been outside of the eyes and ears of staff members. So we're in a really good shape there, but we still need to follow the sign in, sign out system. Just a reminder about our emergency procedures. If you hear the siren go off, it will go off for 3 times during each day at 7 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 5 o'clock for just a really brief tone. Those are just a test of the system. But if the siren goes off for a minute or longer at any time during the week, we would need everybody, including adult leaders, to meet at the Tuscadaga field. That's where the Gaga ball pit is, right outside the entrance to Tuscarora and Onondaga campsites. We ask you to line up your troop by patrol if you're set up that way. Have everybody in the unit remain standing until everybody in the unit is present, and then everybody sits down or squats down, kneels, just gets down so that we know that the troop is all accounted for. That does include the adult leaders. So we need to make sure that the scouts are aware that they need to be checking for the adult leaders' attendance before they do that as well. The other siren that we use, we call the Yelp. Sounds an awful lot like a police car type siren. That is a severe weather siren. And if you hear that, we would ask that you please go to either the dining hall or Seneca Lodge, which are our more secure shelters there. We also have the active shooter procedures. Unfortunately, this is something that we need to talk about in this kind of an environment, but we don't have a siren dedicated to that. But if there's a active shooter situation on camp property, we will use our remind system, and we will use our radio system with the staff to alert adult leaders, to alert the contacts in the program areas. And effectively, the response in this situation is to run into the woods as far away from the roads as you can go, and to get away from those areas. Unfortunately, we don't have what would be considered hardened buildings or secure buildings on the property. So the strategy is to basically run into the woods and get away if that is something that emerges. We will give you during check-in, please remind me if I forget, a stretch of flagging tape or marking tape that we would ask to hang on the whatchamacallit, the outriggers of your tents, just to mark the leader's tents. And that is just so that if we have a situation that arises at night where we need to get a hold of somebody, we know who to go to make sure that we can find that scout that we need, or to get the troop rolling if we have a severe weather storm or something along those lines. Just to follow up on Lee's question, we have no problem with you telling the scouts about that procedure. It's not that we're necessarily hiding it from the scouts or anything like that. It's more we aren't planning to talk about it in the dining hall, but you can certainly feel free to share that information with the scouts regarding the active shooter program. Okay, for our health and safety procedure here, couple of reminders about health and safety issues. All medications do need to be in their original containers, including any over-the-counter medications that are brought to camp by scouts or leaders for that matter. And all prescription medications do need to have the patient's name on them. Occasionally, we will get situations where a parent and child may have the same medication, or two siblings, and they just kind of put one bottle and say both of them are going to be taking it out of this bottle. We can't do that. It has the prescription on the bottle has to match the person who's taking the medications. So please make sure that that is the case. We have 3 AEDs on camp, the automatic defibrillators. One is located in the camp office inside the front door. One travels with Tyler, our medical officer, you see on the screen there. And one is down at the ice house down at the waterfront. And so any of those 3, if you should ever need to gain access to an AED, those would be the 3 locations to go to. Obviously, during non-program times, the one at the waterfront would be the least accessible, because it's going to be, you're not going to have a waterfront staff there to help guide you to finding it. But Tyler keeps it with him in his vehicle, and there's the one at the office. We do ask to please limit the vehicles in camp, keep the speed limit down for safety reasons. 10 miles per hour is the speed limit that starts as soon as you pass the ranger's house at the front gate. Please keep vehicles out of the campsites and off the grassy areas. Those of you, I think everybody's around the Capital District here, you know the weather we've been having this week and are expected to continue to have this week. It's been like the tropical Brazilian rainforest this week. We're getting a heck of a lot of rain, which means mud. So driving off the hard-packed roads into any areas, it's whether you can get your vehicle out or not, it's going to leave a mess behind. And we want to make sure that we leave the campsites better than we found them for the next groups that are coming in. And then just one more safety item, please, no riders in the backs of trucks or trailers. Okay, a few things from a communication standpoint. Oops, sorry. Just give me 1 second here. There we go. Hit something on my screen. I'm not sure if you guys even saw that, but it popped up a bunch of windows. We are continuing to use the Remind alert system that we've used very successfully the last few years. It's a great way to communicate with all of our adult leaders to join for next week. The message is at 1RSR23. So you can either text that to the number 81010, or if you have the Remind app, you can just go ahead and add a class and add the 1RSR23. And that will get you onto our communication link, and we'll send out, we don't use it a lot, but we'll send out updates and reminders about trash pickup and things of that sort, and certainly it's very useful for any emergency communication. So we would ask that at least one adult from each troop sign up for that, but certainly the more the merrier. Please go ahead and sign up. Of course, our Our wonderful assistant ranger and historian Ed Keelan will be continuing to publish the Firestarter newspaper. And the Firestarter is also now available on Facebook through Ed's Facebook page, which is the homepage of the Thunderbird Club. There's also some other ways that you can communicate with us. Through my email address is campdirector@rsrbsa.org, food at rsrbsa.org for cooking and food related things, and medical@rsrbsa.org for to be able to reach our health officer Tyler. Carl, it should be, it's just called the Remind app, but it may be subtitled School Communication. That is what it is frequently used for. We are doing the buffet service for our food services this year. We're really happy that Sean, our cook, is back with us again for a third year. He's done a great job the last couple of years, and we're really excited to have him back. And one of his innovations this year was genius idea, makes a lot of sense, is to create an active Google form that people can log their food allergies and dietary restrictions, that populates a spreadsheet for him in real time, so that anytime he can see who's coming, what restrictions they might have, what allergies they might have, so he can prepare things for them. So that QR code that you see on the screen right there will take you right to the food allergies and dietary restrictions form. Any family members, scouts, anybody should just go ahead and hit that. We'll post it a couple places around the camp as well, so people can just hit that with their QR reader or take a picture of it with their phone and use the photo app on their phone to open up that QR code and report their allergies and dietary restrictions to Sean. He'll still want to touch base with them on Sunday afternoon during the check-in process when they visit the dining hall, to put a face to a name and be able to ask any clarifying questions if needed. But please make sure that people use that as early as possible before camp if they have anything that they need Sean to prepare for. Wednesday lunch will be in the campsites. Patrol cooking at other times during the week remains an option. So you have the opportunity to cook out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner Monday through Friday. We'll do garbage collection. Just to remind you, the best time to put out the trash out of your campsite, even if there's just a little bit in the bag, anything can attract animals, is before you head down for dinner, right? Because once dinner happens, we all know everybody scatters to evening program. Nobody goes back to put the trash out before the trash collection goes around. So on the way out to dinner, drop the trash out by the road, and we'll be happy to pick that up. All right, I mentioned before the family night barbecue. We do start serving at 6 o'clock. Tickets are available via trcscouting.org. You can go right on the calendar and see the barbecue link for week 1, and go ahead and people can purchase their tickets online. We started this for the first time last year. It worked really well. It really kind of cut down on the delays in the office as people were coming through during cash transactions. We can still do cash transactions. We can still do credit card transactions for people that come in, but the more tickets that are purchased in advance, the easier it makes check-in. Folks do still need to check in at the office. Even if they purchase their tickets online, they'll sign in, they'll get their wristbands, and they'll just give me their name, and I pull up the transaction record, hand them a number of tickets based on what they purchased for the barbecue, and off they go to enjoy a wonderful meal of chicken or pork. The prices for the barbecue this year: $16 for ages 11 and up, $10 for ages 10 and under. And just a reminder that, again, all guests do need to check in at the camp office. And that ticket purchasing opportunity is live now, so anybody can go right in right now, anytime between now and Wednesday afternoon next week, and register or purchase their tickets for the barbecue. We then will follow that up with our campfire about 8:15 after the barbecue is over. Troop photos Monday night, $8 each. We'll take those right after dinner out at the traffic circle right outside the dining hall there. And so that takes us on to program and our program director, Josh Clark.
Good evening, everyone. As Brian said, our staff is excited and enthusiastic down at our dining hall right now, going through some trainings. You want to hit me the tabs on this, Brian? We got a couple of new things going on, a couple of things we're super excited about. But as we've been the last couple of years, every merit badge in camp has a pamphlet. Each program area has those pamphlets if any scouts are interested in reading the material in them, having the requirements to know what they're working on ahead of time. Some merit badges are a little more look ahead than others. Some have a little bit of homework, like rifle shooting with knowing your state's state laws, stuff like that. And those are through the books. Those are available. Additionally, there are some merit badges with prerequisites or requirements that aren't completed during the session. And the forms that for that are available online, or you can get them from the camp office as well. Pretty much the idea of that, hey, my scouts have done 15 nights of camping or 5 nights of camping, I'm forgetting at this point, for camping merit badge, and they can complete this merit badge. On Wednesday, after lunch, we will put out a midweek progress report on our table in the office. We've gone fully digital, so that'll be available on a laptop. We'll easily pull it up and easily Control F search your scouts instead of flipping through the old binder. So those all resources are there for you and your scouts. Go ahead,
and because they are digital, let me just add, Josh, that because many of our staff, depending upon the area and the amount of access to Wi-Fi that they have in their program areas, many of them will be tracking their merit badges in Blackpug through the week, which means you can log into your troop accounts to see the progress through the week. That won't necessarily be the case for every merit badge, but you'll still, for every merit badge, you'll have it on Wednesday, but you can also track others during the week.
Oh, good. We're connected all the way through now. Perfect. So classically, we've had our, campfire Sunday, Wednesday. We've had a camp-wide game on Tuesday. We have open programs. Most nights we're not doing a large game or activity. And our classic programs, Thursday night outposts, stuff like that, all going on as usual this year. Our Sunday night campfire welcomes us all in. Our staff presents themselves and introduces themselves and gets the morale and tone set for the week. And then on Wednesday, we look for our troops and our patrols to also add in some songs, skits, and cheers along with the staff for families and just for the troop as well. Our Tuesday night game, our staff decided that they were going to be pirates this year. So there's eye patches everywhere. And, do some sort of treasure hunt and build up some competition as who can get their treasure and earn things for our units this year. Our open programs are similar to they have been in the past. I don't think any of our directors are looking to do anything revolutionary new this year. A lot of open programs like just tomahawk, bouldering, open shoots, open activities in every program area. One to note is Trailer First Class. Trailer First Class, a Trailer First Class is our first year program where we do a lot of rank advancement. Some scouts aren't our first years or not first years, and they're not quite first class yet. And they need to get that one tricky requirement that you as an adult leaders don't have the ability to instruct because it's weird. Like, how do you do navigation at night? I don't know. Our Trailer First Class director, Dan Truax, and his staff can either directly help those scouts during open program, or they could facilitate you with gear or give you some instruction to help those scouts out. So please use that resource if you notice any of your scouts need anything. Additionally, our outdoor ethics, we're facilitating the Leave No Trace Awareness Award, which any scout and scouter can get during the week just by attending that one session. We will have Polar Bear Swim Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. And there's all sorts of adult trainings and programs in camp. I very much welcome every adult to be as interactive with as many of our programs as possible. I love to see it when there's adult leaders taking COPE. Our COPE director, Kim Murray, this year is enthusiastic to get some other adults in the program, get you guys playing games with the kids and get you guys up on the high ropes. Aquatics has aquatic supervision, which is the swimming and water rescue, paddlecraft safety. so you can facilitate water activities on your own. And there's several other trainings and whatnot happening throughout the week. But I'm completely okay if, you know, open programs like Open Shoot. There just happens to be an adult leader taking part of Open Shoot. 10 out of 10. All right, moving on. Most of our scouts come on through our program, and we work really hard to get them through and get the merit badge that they rightly deserve. We do a lot of one-on-one extra work towards the end of the week. We've shifted our focus a lot of time on Friday to getting those kids who just need that just a little bit extra time on the water to complete their J strokes. They get canoeing merit badge, but not everyone completes their merit badge. Maybe they need to handle something at home, like emergency preparedness with their emergency kits. So if any of your scouts do not complete the merit badge at camp, and they can complete it at home, or they need to do just a couple of things with us, they can come back August 13th and do those requirements to finish that off. So they don't have to wait a whole year to come back to finish a J stroke on their canoe. August 13th, and that is live, I believe. You can already register for it. I thought I saw it up on a Black Bug. Is that correct, Brian?
It is. It's on the calendar, but I don't have registration set up just yet. But we will get that set up there.
All right. So
Josh, you have a question about 4th of July hike to the cliffs. Safe to say that that's also the time that the Camp White game is going on, but there's a distinct possibility that that will be an option that we will be able to lead, or certainly troops could do on their own.
Yes, particularly. Typically, it's beginning of the summer. We'll be done, and they'll still be light up. So we'll probably head a hike out, 8 o'clock or something that night, and have plenty of time to see that. Heck, it's 8:30 now, and there's still plenty of light. So,
cool.
Likely yes, especially since you're asking for it and your troops interested. All right. So our record keeping. Last year moved onto online through Black Bug. So your unit registered. It's on that system. All of our staff are importing their records. Those records will be exported to Scoutbook at the end of the week. You can, if you want, through Scoutbook and Black Bug, I believe, Brian, print traditional blue cards if that's how your unit still works. Many ways that's still facilitated. And I already mentioned the progress reports. Anything you want to add? Because I think I stole this slide from you, Brian.
No, that's fine. You did fine. If you look at the sample over there on the screen there, where you've got the 3 tabs at the top of the roster page that the units see, the camp coordinator sees, the reports tab right there. If you click that and scroll down on your own roster tab, you're going to see several different ways that you can report the records, and we're going to try to export them to Scoutbook. It worked most of the time last year. Sometimes there were technical glitches, usually on Scoutbook's end, but we will export the records into Scoutbook. But anything that doesn't go, like for example, first class Charter first class rank requirements cannot export, nor can any of the awards. It's only merit badges that the system allows to link to Scoutbook. So any of those other things, you're still going to have all those records in there. In fact, you have access to last year's records still. If you go into your camp account from last year, you can pull up last year's records. You can export them as blue cards. You can export them in all different ways, including to Troop Master if your units are using that. So it's just the camp contact for the year just goes into their reports tab, and it's all right there. All right, so those are the formal slides and presentations that we have for you this evening. What questions do we have? We have a question from Lee about IOLS and fingerprinting. Fingerprinting is a go. We've got that. The scouts could sign up for that through Black Bug, and just like they could sign up for other merit badges. So if you've got a scout that wants to do that, they can sign up on there. IOLS is one that I know the training committee is trying to see if anybody can get together to offer that this year, and I think they've got it for week 2 currently, because one of the trainers is going to be in camp. Is it 5? Thanks, Josh. Week 5, because one of the trainers is going to be in camp, but unfortunately we're very reliant on the training committee to be able to come in to provide that for us, because we just don't have the staff to be able to dedicate to those programs on our own, and they have not been able to get the volunteers. It's understandable. It's hard to get the volunteers to be able to commit to 2 days, full days during the workday to be able to come up to camp to do that. So as of right now, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll be offering IOLS next week, but fingerprinting definitely Monday and Thursday nights. Other questions?
Hey guys, it's Carl. I do have another question about the Remind app.
Sure.
I did download it, and I'm trying to join. I'm at the screen where it says join your first class. So I typed the class code, which you said was 1 RSR23.
Correct.
But when I do that, it says unable to find group.
You're using the Remind app. It's like a blue with a white R.
Yeah, it's like the icon is a white R on a blue background. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what I was struggling with joining earlier this week. How I solved that was I sent it via text, and then it joined me on the online and on the app all. Made it all work.
Okay. Let me can you go back to that slide?
Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. It looks like give me a second here on this one. It looks like when I changed the class code, it didn't take. So let me try changing that here, and because it had a different code down here. I definitely changed it before, but sometimes it didn't take. Okay, so the change has been saved. So try it again now. And because nobody got through, and I'm guessing a couple of you sat there and boom, boom, boom. So 1 RSR23, and that should hopefully start. You should be able to get through now.
I got it now. Yeah, I'm good now. Great. Thanks,
Perfect.
guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me know. That was a technical glitch on my end.
I was prepared to blame the company.
Yeah, we can blame them too, but it was my error. Other questions? Oh, look at that. We got folks now.
Would you just show the slide again with the evening programs for the week? I just, Camp-wide game Tuesday, Campfire Wednesday. I'm just forgetting what else is available Monday and Thursday, thinking about our fingerprinting kids.
Yeah, so we got the fingerprinting Monday and Thursday. I think, Josh, do you have the schedule? I know the staff has been working on that, so I haven't seen a final copy yet, but do you have some more details on that?
It usually looks something like this. So
there you go.
So I have stuff for Tuesday and Thursday, handicrafts like duct tape, paracord crafts. They'll be doing Thursday. They'll be doing tomahawk throwing, open museum. I've got rappel races and a cope game, Archimedes Bridge, Tuesday, Thursday for cope and climbing, open climb. All right. That's all I actually have in front of me. So we've got a whole lot going on. We'll be putting that out on Sunday, or you'll have access to that on Sunday. But Tuesday in the afternoon, we typically is a strong open activity time, because the evening is the camp-wide game. So the programmer is going to do anything that day, they have to do it in the afternoon. And Thursday is usually really strong with our open programs in the evenings, because not a whole lot's going on by the end of the week, and we usually want to end strong. Everything besides Scoutcraft, who's on Outpost.
All right, I guess I do have another question about
Chapel at 5:15 on Tuesday, Lee. Yep. Go ahead, Carl.
All right, sorry. I do have another question about the open programs. I guess as an adult leader, are there any prerequisites that are going to be required? Like for example, like for shooting, is there some sort of again, just prereqs that might be required of anybody?
So the shooting sports will go through a safety briefing. So through anyone new for open shoot. So no, the aquatic supervision, swimming, and paddlecraft does not require CPR for that level. So there's no prerequisite there. So no, you walk in that day, 10 out of 10.
Okay, great.
Just cool. with the shooting sports, there is still the New York State law for minimum age. So for 12 for shooting the rifles, and our policy is 13 for shotguns, it's 12 for New York state law, but we have a 13 age policy typically because the smaller scouts are just really have a hard time holding that shotgun up at arm's length, to be able to fire accurately. So there's that. And with some of the aquatic stuff for boating, you do need to be a swimmer to be able to do the boating for much of the boating, and also for being able to get out onto the water slide. That's a minimum age of 13 and swimmer as well. So, but aside from some of the aquatic stuff and the minimum age for the states, everything else, no work prerequisites. It's just a few age prerequisites.
Okay, so nothing for like because I remember I did cope with when I was a scout, so I remember that was like there was some like intense sort of something. It was a long time ago, but so nothing special even for that.
No, you could do it again if you'd like. The adults are welcome to take cope. We have scouts signed up for it, but they are small groups that we've got signed up for cope this week. So if a few adults wanted to join, the cope staff, the cope team would love it, because it would get a few more folks in there. A little bit larger group makes for a more fun experience for everybody. They'll talk to you. They'll probably work with you a little bit about suggesting that there might be some times for the adult leaders to step back a little bit and not, kids naturally will tend to defer to the adults. And so in that sort of team building leadership part, you may be encouraged to step back a little bit and let them go forward. But if you're interested in doing cope again, go for it. It'd be great. And that's all afternoon for the 5 days, but we've got a great high course and a great team.
See, that was my next question, because I won't be coming out till like midweek, so that wouldn't matter for something like that, or would it?
That's a little tougher because the cope is that group dynamic of trying to build a group from the beginning to the end of the week. So the preference would be somebody that's available to commit for the full week. But you could do open climbs and rappel stuff they do at the tower. I
could probably rework my work schedule. I could figure something out, maybe. Cool, great. Thanks much. Appreciate it.
It'll be worth it.
I'm sure it would be. Yes.